Good afternoon. My name is Barbara Fuller, and as chair of the board, I welcome you to this October 17th, 2023 regular meeting of the Washtenaw County Board of Road Commissioners. Our office coordinator, Erin Smith, will describe how our meetings operate, how to access the agenda packet, and how people may participate remotely. Erin.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. There are multiple ways to make public comment during today's board meeting, whether you're joining us in person or virtually. If you're here in person and would like to make public comment, please fill out the sign-in sheet now. If you're joining us virtually, we will ask you to raise your hand at the appropriate time in the agenda. If you're joining us virtually and are experiencing technical issues with audio or video during the meeting, submit a comment in the chat feature and our communications manager will help you troubleshoot. The audio and video of this meeting is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be posted at wcroads.org in the next few days. There are printed copies of today's meeting agenda on the table near the front door, and it is also posted on our website. And now I'll turn it over to Chair Fuller.
Thank you, Erin. I now call this October 17th, 2023 regular meeting to order and ask Erin to call the roll.
Chair Barb Fuller.
Present.
Vice Chair Rod Green.
Present.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Present.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Present.
And then Commissioner Jeff Smers has an excused absence. And then the following directors are in attendance: Managing Director Cheryl Siddle, Director of Engineering Matt McDonald, Director of Operations Adam Lape, and Director of Finance and IT Dan Ackerman.
Thank you. Please join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I so move.
Support. Any discussion, changes, additions, deletions? Seeing none, Erin, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The agenda is approved as presented. We have two sets of minutes to accept today. May I have a motion to accept the board meeting minutes of October 3rd, 2023, appearing on pages 3 through 12 of the packets?
So moved.
Support. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? Seeing none, Erin, if you would please.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The board meeting minutes of October 3rd are accepted as presented. May I have a motion to accept the closed session minutes of October 17th, 2023? Copies of these minutes were distributed at your desk. A motion, please.
So move.
Support.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Erin, if you would please call the roll.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Barb Fuller.
Yes. The closed session minutes of October 17th are accepted as circulated. Next, we have time set aside on the agenda to receive comments from the public. This is not intended to be a period for dialogue. Each person will be allotted 3 minutes to address the board. Erin will explain how people may be recognized to offer comment.
Thanks, Chair Fuller. Since this is a hybrid meeting with both in-person and virtual attendees, we will take turns between those attending in person and virtually. For virtual attendees, we have provided some instructions on the screen on how to participate and make public comment. If you're attending this meeting virtually and would like to make public comment, please raise your hand now. If you dialed into the meeting from your phone, you can raise your hand by dialing *9. Our communications manager will unmute virtual participants with raised hands one at a time and will announce your username or last 4 digits of your phone number when it is your turn to speak. Please share your name and address before beginning your comments. And then for our in-person attendees, we will start with those who signed up on the sign-in sheet as you walked in. If you didn't sign in, you're still welcome to make comment. At this time, there's no one that would like to make comment in person or virtually.
All right, thank you, Erin. I'm going to backtrack because I believe I misspoke on the closed session minutes. I believe I said October 17th. It should have been October 3rd minutes. And I'd like to just have a do-over since that was an item. So may I have a motion to accept the closed session minutes of October 3rd, 2023 as presented?
So move.
I support.
If you'd please call the roll, Erin.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes. Written communications. Written communications appear on pages 13 through 27 of our packet. Commissioners, is there anything you wish to draw our attention to? Commissioner McCollum.
Madam Chair, on page 15, the response for the proposed traffic signal at Ellsworth Road and Oak Valley Drive. I thought that was a very good response to the residents that wrote in for that one. Thank you, Cheryl. That was very good. And then on page 17, that was also a good response to these residents that came about to talk about the flooding in their basement. And what I noticed is that each person that spoke at the meeting and left their information was also sent a letter. So each person was sent a letter, so everyone got the information. And I thought that was very efficient and also very caring. Also on page 27, there are some thank you. There's a thank you card and a thank you message. And I think the thank you card is wonderful to thank the Road Commission, both of them, for what they do. But that little birdie, that just is so cute singing. So I really appreciate people sending in thank you cards and thank you messages. That's all I have.
All right. Anyone else?
And I'd also like to thank our managing director for her responses. It was very helpful to our residents that came and took the time to come. Thank you.
So I have a question on page 27, the handwritten note to Ms. Tiffany. Help me out here. It says, thanks for having McClure graded and fixed up before. It looks like water moo.
Before
What's the water moo.
before the water moves. Not a street, right?
It's a bike race.
It's a bike race?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. It's a bike race.
Oh, okay.
It's a bike race that happens, and we got a thank you note for it.
Water moo. All right. Well, that's a new one on me. Anybody else have any important questions to ask?
No important
All right.
questions.
There was no public comments, so we will just bypass that item on our agenda. We have new business, a consent agenda items. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented, items 1 through 8, pages 28 through 33.
Madam Chair, I so move.
A second, please.
Support.
Any discussion? Seeing none, Aaron, if you would please.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joanne McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, the consent agenda is approved as presented. We have no action items today. Reports from the County Commissioner Liaison. I don't believe either of them are here. Commissioner Sanders had sent us a message saying she was at a meeting in Ohio and was unable to join us today. Just so that we note that she checked in this morning. I think it was.
That is correct.
Commissioner Yamas.
I'm sorry, Commissioner. I wanted to talk about the business that we just passed, the new business. I wanted to give thanks for the waiver that was set in, Protecting Local Government Retirement Benefits Act. Thank you for the hard work,
Okay.
Dan, and we appreciate you getting that in and on time.
He's getting pretty good at it by now.
Yeah, I think he's done it every year. Yeah.
All right, so we will move on to the report of the road commissioners. Commissioner McCollum.
Yes, Madam Chair. On October 4th, I attended the chat with the Road Commission and there were no attendees. On October 10th, I attended the Washtenaw County Parks and Rec meeting. The meeting was held at the beautiful Rolling Hills County Park Lodge building. First time I was in that building and couldn't believe how close that wonderful, beautiful park is to where I live. So No excuses. I'm getting there sometime this year, next year. And so at the meeting, the resolution supporting the renewal of the 2024 road millage ballot question was approved unanimously, I am happy to say. And that's my report. Thank you.
Commissioner Yamas.
No report.
Commissioner Green.
No report.
Commissioner Smers has an excused absence today, so we'll move on. For my report, on October 11th, I participated in the weekly chat session. There were no visitors. And I want to point out that this week is the kind of a transition week with our new managing director phasing himself in. Congratulations, Matt. And also we've had several staff shufflings going on. As we talked about last time, Brent Schlack is going to be the new director of engineering. Aaron Burkholtz is the new assistant director of engineering. Michelle Ford is the senior project manager of traffic and safety. And Nate Murphy becomes the senior project manager for design and construction. I'm sure that this is going to be a seamless and smooth chapter in the Road Commission's journey. How many years? 104 years, and we're still going strong. And I want to know why there's a tape dispenser in the display case. We'll cover that next time. Yeah. Okay. If there are no questions of anyone, Commissioner Yamas.
Congratulations to all getting promoted.
Congratulations.
All right. So we will move on to the reports of the managing director and her staff and any updates. The staff reports start on page 45 and take us through the end of the packet on page 56. Cheryl.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions should you have them about the report or information provided. All right. Continuing on the theme of transitions, the most of my time, and actually Matt for the last couple of weeks, has been going around and meeting with our different crews, just trying to introduce Matt in his new role and certainly ensure staff that we're hoping to have a smooth and seamless transition here, allowing them the opportunity to ask questions, making sure that people have what they need, and just sort of minimize any concerns that might be out there. It's actually been a lot of fun just to talk to different people. So that's been a good time.
How many have you gotten to so far?
We've done, I think, all of the operations crews at this point.
Yeah.
And we're moving into the office, so to speak, here shortly.
Okay.
So, yep.
Great.
Yep. But like I said, it's really, honestly, it's been a lot of fun. Other than that, I personally don't have a lot to report. I know we've got 3 directors here who have been carrying the load with respect to starting on budget here. I know Dan's going to be talking about, Adam will hit on dry run, and Matt will talk about some of the millage efforts that he and Brent are starting on. So
Okay.
with that, I'm more than happy to hand it off to Adam.
Any questions for Cheryl before we move on? No? Okay.
Good afternoon, Adam Lake, Director of Operations. As Cheryl noted, we continue dry run inspections. It's kind of all winter right now, getting everything going. 3 inspections remain. Our 3 bigger crews, District 2, State Trunk Line, and Heavy Equipment. Those crews still remain. Following our dry run on Friday, we're going to host our first for this year, snow and ice introduction course. So that's where we started last year, combining employees that have 0 to 3 years of service time, try to get core group in the room where they can kind of bounce ideas off each other and just talk introduction, just our concepts for snow and ice, just some more understanding of why we do what we do, why we can't do it this way or that way, and some of the materials we use and the equipment we use. Try to help set everybody up, for success, because they have a long time doing this. So we try to communicate that with them. After that, we'll host employees that are 4 years of service time and probably to a 6 or 10 year window there. A little more specific update there where they've kind of had some experience and some time to assert themselves and understand routing and kind of what we do in the equipment and talk a little more technical.
Snow and ice still?
Yep. Continue building that a few next steps further so they, once again, keep that career built 30 years of doing it, you're going to learn and things are going to change a little bit. So that'll be more of a conversation, get a little more in the technical information.
4 to how many years?
4 to 6 or 4 to 10 years, depending on how our numbers on our seniority list are.
Okay.
And then November 14th, CRISP's going to host at the Northeast Service Center, basically a defensive driving training session, related primarily to snow and ice, but we'll also set what we refer to as a rodeo course, but really that's just a driver training course. We'll set that out in the parking lot and get participants from other counties and this 0 to 3 year service, and then other members if we have enough spots to register throughout our agency to also drive that course as well.
And who's doing this?
So this is hosted by McChryssup. Craig Timmer from our safety department, obviously from Human Resources, he's going to help coordinate that as well and be part of that training. But it was nice having an outside source come in as well. So we'll kind of brush up on our snow and ice refreshers, get them asserted with that, and then go to learn some tips and tricks from others. So it'll be nice to kind of mix that up for our employees to see a little bit. Nice
to know that Bondurant has come to Washtenaw County.
Yes, well, I probably at a few mile an hour less speed, but
hopefully.
Yes, hopefully, yes, please, God, please, hopefully. And so, like I say, you know, you can tell it's all snow and ice right now, but maintenance does continue throughout the county and some project work that we have towards the end of the season here. And that's the update. If you want any questions.
Yeah. Commissioner Yamas.
Hi, the driver training, it used to be called the rodeo, right? Driver's rodeo.
Yeah, we refer to it as the rodeo, but it's really just a driver training course.
Okay, and only people 0 to 3 years. Has it always been that, or
no? This is new. This is new for us. So the 0 to 3 was to try to get that core group together that really they haven't done this much.
Yes.
And try to start building them from scratch. You know, we really haven't offered that at the agency. So last year we started building that together. We had a little bit of momentum, but with COVID working restrictions 2-3 years ago, we had to kind of back off what we were doing. So last year we had an opportunity to be able to get everybody in the room again and start that again. The McChryssup training, Craig found that throughout his coordination with McChryssup throughout the year. So they put that together. And so that's just another supplemental thing to add. Our goal is to hopefully have a rodeo in-house where we can invite really anybody to get in our equipment and actually move it around. And we're off the road, so we're in a safe place and safe environment to do that. So, but yeah, so that's what we refer to it as the rodeo.
Right. All right. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? No. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. All right. Next up, we have Dan Ackerman, our Director of Finance and IT.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Dan Ackerman, Director of Finance and IT. Appreciate the comments on our defined benefit pension waiver request. Initially, I was going to wait until the first meeting in November to put that together because there's kind of a lot to it and want to make sure that I'm being thorough and so on. But there's about a 45-day window from when we are put on notice, if you will, from the state that we're considered underfunded to when we have to have our waiver submitted. So I didn't want to wait for another board meeting. So I put that together and Cheryl reviewed it for me and Aaron did as well. So appreciate that. And hopefully that's the last one that we have to submit. I won't make any promises, but you know, certainly the $4.5 million we received from the state that's going to be applied to our pension certainly will help. We never know what the markets will do, which they haven't been as great lately, but you know, certainly we'll continue to address that as best we can. But I'm hoping that that's the last time that we have to ask for that waiver. So I don't know if there's any other questions on that at all.
Just, Lori, I don't think you were here. The reason we're still underfunded, considered underfunded, is because if I read this right, it's from the actuary of 12/31/22.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
So it can't count for the grant from the state that we got.
That's correct. The 4.5 million will be a part of our actuary as of 12/31/23.
Right.
So, and then we'll know the full impact of that. Yep. And besides that, as Cheryl mentioned, we had our initial budget meeting with the directors, and everybody has some homework, lots of numbers to crunch, and we'll be covering that with the board in November at the working session. we'll be talking about year-end 2023 budget as well as 2024. So there'll be two budgets that we'll be discussing with you. So, and then as far as IT, Chris is working on the finishing touches for November for Cybersecurity Training Month. That starts November 1st, and all the commissioners will be asked to go through that as well. There'll be a communication from Road Commission IT with regards to, you know, how to do it and so on. And my recommendation is to do it sooner rather than later. I think there'll be reminders and so on, but from my perspective, when I get things like that, when I have you know, to-do lists or whatever, I try and do them sooner rather than later and get them out of the way. But you know, we ask that everybody complete that. It's an annual thing that we're doing. It's been very successful, so certainly we're looking forward to that training.
And that's a requirement, is it not?
Yeah, for cybersecurity insurance.
Yeah,
that's a requirement that we need to go through that. So, but I even if it wasn't, I mean, why would we not go through that exercise? So I think a lot of people had takeaways in their personal life as well, as far as the value of the training. So also Chris and I met and we talked about the IT budgets for both 2023 and 2024. So just want to make sure we have a good handle on things and what the needs are. So good discussion there. And Chris, Josh, and I were Windows 11 testers, so that's coming. And basically trying to break the system if we can and see how it interfaces with the Road Commission's programs and so on. There's some subtle differences that will take a little getting used to, but overall it didn't create any serious issues with the programs the Road Commission is using. So so far so good with that. And that's my report.
Any questions for Dan? And then we approved the budget in December, right?
The first meeting in December.
First meeting in December. Yeah.
Yep. And I believe for 2024, we have to have a public hearing.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And do we do that on the second? Do we do that all in one fell swoop, as I recall?
Typically.
Okay. Okay. And here it comes. Right?
I know. I can't believe the year just flying by, isn't it? It's crazy.
I don't see any questions.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Last but not least, Matt Washtenaw, our Director of Engineering, for at least another day and a half.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Matt Washtenaw, Director of Engineering. I just want to share with you a couple of project updates. We completed Prospect Road paving in Superior Township. That was combined with a culvert project. So I think Tiffany may have a photo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, thank you for that nice job, a beautiful job.
Thank you.
I think they have to put markings
They
down.
did a great job. Our crews did a great job with the culvert, and then Cadillac Asphalt was the contractor that did the paving work. They do our countywide paving contract. So that was a great project. That just as a reminder, that was partly millage and partly federally buyout for that Prospect segment. That's okay. I'll just go on to also in Ypsilanti Township, we have the local road paving where we're paving subdivision work, Green Farm subdivisions where they're currently at. And then also project update on North Territorial Road. That's a safety project. That's between Mast and Webster Church Road. They're replacing 2 culverts. The contractor, I believe, is Erie. They should be wrapping that work up. The paving is scheduled for the end of this week. So that is ongoing. That project also includes the improvement at the intersection of North Territorial and Webster Church. That work will take place next year.
And that's where the full closure is going to occur,
yeah,
right?
Well, it won't be a full closure. It'll be, we'll maintain traffic on North Territorial, 1 lane with temporary signals on both sides of the project. And then there will be a closure on Webster Church.
Okay.
So that'll get detoured.
Temporary signals are working really well on Liberty, from what I can tell.
They can be finicky depending on the volume and the peak times. So we'll keep an eye on it. Our signals engineer and our project manager will be in close coordination, just to make sure that the timing is appropriate. So, but they can work very well. We use them on our epoxy deck ceiling for some of our more major bridge decks this summer, and they seem to work well.
Do drivers tend to pay attention to those a little better than people standing there with their little stop or slow signs?
That's a great question.
They just seem so much more visible to me.
I think people are accustomed to the red, yellow, green, so that's a known factor, but they're not as big as some of our other signals. So sometimes, just depending on the circumstance and the complexity and characteristics of the work zone.
Plus, if it's a 24-hour lane restriction, then you need to have signals because we can't have someone standing out there all night long.
Yeah.
Right. And then staff, both in engineering operations, are working together to put together our road commission millage plan. If the millage were successful for renew and restore, what would those 4 years of projects look like? So we're very much in that mode. Our goal is at some point in November, be able to share that with the board, and then ultimately then share that with our township partners, so, and county commissioners.
So I heard two things: township partners and county commissioners. When I think of township partners, I think of supervisors in townships.
Yeah, that is generally speaking, we would send that to our township supervisors and clerks. They can share that with their board. Okay. Basically, we'd be looking for input on the proposed plan. And then what we envision as well, as we talked about, first of the year, we'd then be setting up some in-person presentation of what that plan is, so that we could get that feedback. And we did this the last 4-year millage.
Yeah.
We had a couple of different presentations throughout the county. I think we did the Southeast Service Center, Northeast Service Center, and then here, and invited various townships to any of the locations and said, come on, we'll give you a brief presentation, allow for some dialogue and some feedback on the plan. So we'll share the plan with them. The end of this year and the beginning of next year, we'll sit down and meet with them to kind of talk about that plan.
And when do these sharing sessions occur? Weekdays, middle of the week?
Yeah, that's undetermined. But I would expect that would be during the week, during the day. Last time we found it pretty successful to offer lunch, and we had a pretty good turnout.
Feed them.
Yes, we had a pretty good turnout that way.
Yeah, they were about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours long last time. So we did a morning session, we had lunch, we sort of wrapped it up. We had equipment available if they wanted to climb in a truck, that type of thing.
So end of this year, share the plans. In 24, then
meet
to finalize what would go in the package if it makes it. Okay.
Correct. And then we can have, after we get feedback, refine it, and then we can also do some public virtual meetings on the topic as well.
Okay.
If we felt like that was a step we wanted to take, which I think would be a good idea.
Okay.
And that's all I had to report today, unless you had any questions.
Anything for Matt?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Go clean out your desk.
Yes.
I thought I saw a dumpster out back. That must be you, Matt. That's it? Okay. All right. Let me get back to my papers here. I want to point out that our next meeting is November 7th at 1 o'clock. No working session that day. Virtual chat sessions. Tomorrow is Commissioner Yamas, and November 1st is Commissioner Green. If there's no further business to come before the board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Support. Erin, if you would, please.
Commissioner Gloria Yamas.
Yes.
Commissioner Joya McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner Rod Green.
Yes.
And Commissioner Burt Fuller.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thanks, everybody.